Hello everyone, my name is Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is May 30th, 2025, and Bitcoin has almost reached our target. I'm going to talk about what that means for Bitcoin, why we're expecting the target we're expecting, and what it means for altcoins. If that all sounds interesting to you, then watch until the very end. Hope you're having a great day. Let's get started. Actually, on the hourly time frame today, because I want to show a bit more detail. So Bitcoin has been in a downtrend ever since our Tuesday top. So we said this in the previous episode. We said very likely what you'll see is Bitcoin starting to trend downwards, and we may get the initiation of that trend once liquidity gets into the markets Monday evening, Tuesday morning, because Monday was a holiday. It was Memorial Day in the United States, and the traditional markets weren't open. Also, we had a confluent factor of the new moon being on Tuesday, I believe, and new moons in markets traditionally, typically, statistically represent local market tops. So we thought very, very likely Tuesday would be a big move, and that's exactly what we got with the liquidity of traditional markets. We got our Tuesday dump of Bitcoin right here, and we continued, and we've been in that trend ever since. So I want to look at that trend, and I want to look at its logical conclusion, at least in the immediate short term, all right? And what that means for altcoins. So on the hourly time frame, just like I said, you can see the trend, and so I want to channel it. So let's take this channel right here. So we have our trend, and you can see it's choppy. What does that mean? So practically speaking, when you see a trend that's choppy like this, it basically means the market doesn't want it. It's not like there's a fight, okay? There's a fight. There's reticence. There's actually, I wouldn't channel it like this. I would channel it like this, okay? There's people. There are a lot of market participants that are looking for the price to go against the trend. So there's a lot of people buying, and we all know that if you go on Twitter, if you read the news, you know, this company bought Bitcoin, this government bought Bitcoin, you know, this, you know, a big whale bought Bitcoin. Like, there's a lot of buying. Regardless, we're still getting our trend as per the technical analysis, right? The technical analysis has told us that, you know, for the past 190 days, thereabouts, we've been in a massive distribution channel, you know, a channel that changes the trend from up to down. And so we had to get something like this, a drawdown. And so we're getting it, but the choppiness basically shows you that there's a lot of fight. There's a lot of buyers still, despite the sellers being stronger and the selling pressure being stronger. It's not going down without a fight. Eventually, what you're going to see is the buyers exhaust, okay? There's a point at which, and it's probably around here somewhere, around 102, 103, that the buyers just get exhausted, and then you see some straight lines, okay? And we're probably going to end this particular trend in a straight line capitulation to our target of 100. Remember, why is our target 100? Well, going on the daily time frame, we can see very well that 100K represents this upwards rising broadening wedge, the upper resistance of this upper broadening wedge that we formed back in towards the end of April, okay? And so it's not like the sturdiest support in the world, but it's the next logical support, okay? There's nothing between where we are now and that region. Furthermore, 100K historically has been strong psychological resistance, and I expect it to generate at least a modest bounce on the way down. So 100K is a good target. You know, you can also see here the 100K region. Is this 100K? Yeah, the 100K region showing some sort of support. So I really do think that 100K is going to be the end of our first wave down. Okay, so that to me seems like a really interesting place for Bitcoin to start showing some intermediate signs of strength. Okay, a lot of people who are not reading the market holistically, they're not zooming out enough, they're going to think that's it, period, end, finished. But on this channel, we know very well that's just the first wave of much, much more downside. Okay, and because people aren't ready, what you're going to see are cascading liquidations when the big move actually happens. And from 100K, we go back up to 106 thereabouts. Then that's really going to throw people off, because a lot of them, all those institutions, all of those hedge funds, all of those big buyers who think and they're convinced that we have to get 150, 130, all-time highs now. They have their stops and liquidations all over here. And basically, once the price goes below 100K, those get hit. And as the price, turning buyers, forcing them to be sellers. And you're just going to see a cascade of that. And it's going to be historic. I said that months ago on the channel. Months ago. Obviously, this distribution has taken quite a long time to play out. But it is playing out, as we can see here. So the last thing I want to say, and I'm kind of repeating myself, but this is a really good point. What you should expect from the price action is not just 100K. It's not an arbitrary figure, because look what happens when you get 100K as your intermediate support. I'm going to use my, if I can find it. Sorry, let me find it. I can't. You guys know me. I can't talk and look at the same time. One sec. It's here somewhere. Okay, here it is. The head and shoulders pattern. What you're going to see once we hit 100K is another head and shoulders being formed. So let me change the color. Let's make it pink. Yeah. So you're going to see another head and shoulders, because you can see, we broke down from this green head and shoulders, right? And obviously another point of confluence is that the height of that green head and shoulders that I'm covering right here, superimposed from the side of breakout, the bottom, the neckline of it is also 100K. That's the target. That's the technical target of that green head and shoulders. If you look at this pink head and shoulders, this is the left shoulder of that pink head and shoulders. Okay, let me see if I can't move it here. Yeah. So you're going to see another head and shoulders form, and that's very typical. Once you get into these trends, one trend leads into another, and then it leads into another. They're fractal. Okay? And so I believe that once we get to our target of about 100K, then we're going to get our retracement up to around 106 from my calculations, which is representing the phi ratio of this entire thing right here. Okay, this entire thing. Once we get to 100K, that'll be the move right here. Then that's going to be the top of the right shoulder, right? So you're going to see again, 100K is very likely as an intermediate target, given the height of this green head and shoulders, which is the technical target, 100K, given the previous support of this rising broadening wedge, also given the third factor of confluence, the fact that if it is indeed our target, we're going to get a larger head and shoulders pattern, which yields the next intermediate target, which is whatever this is, the something down here. Oh, yeah, the midline. That makes tons of sense, right? Because the midline is resistance when you're below it, support when you're above it. We're currently above the midline of our 190-day distribution channel. So we're going to find temporary support at the midline around 91, 92K. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing. Just a look ahead a bit. But again, you're going to have to trade or deal with everything as it comes, because this is all probabilistic. Nothing is set in stone, and we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. But that's sort of what I'm seeing with Bitcoin. Now, even more interesting, what is the effect of this on altcoins? Obviously, right now, given this downtrend, altcoins are affected. All right, altcoins on the whole are dumping even more than Bitcoin. But as I said before, once we get to this target at 100K, given what we're seeing in the altcoin space, given the level of support that we're on, we're likely to see very big moves in the altcoin space. The start of alt season, the proper start of alt season, where a whole slew of altcoins rise from the dead and put in strong double-digit moves off of their multi-year levels of support. So that's what I want to use the rest of the time of this episode to look at. Let's first look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. And we love looking at the Bitcoin dominance chart because it gives us a really good idea as to what the altcoins are going to do, when alt season is going to come, how altcoins are going to react to Bitcoin. And thus far, looking at this Bitcoin dominance, given that Bitcoin's almost at our target, our pink box, which was very crucial to our overall analysis, has yet to break. It's still being maintained. Very, very, very important, right? Because on the high time frame, for those of you who don't know, we were dealing with this rising wedge pattern, okay? And basically, when Bitcoin dominance is rising, altcoins bleed against Bitcoin. Bitcoin is basically the king asset. If it dumps, altcoins dump more. If it pumps, altcoins may not even pump. They may just stagger or range. So if you're anticipating an alt season, you want Bitcoin dominance to fall. And if Bitcoin dominance is truly going to fall, this rising wedge has to break down. And to break any technical pattern down, you see the corrective pattern happen in flavors of 3. So we got that initial breakdown, the retest. Now the retest now meets the rising wedge as resistance, and that pink box represents that resistance. This is why the pink box was so crucial in our analysis of the Bitcoin dominance chart. Okay, so we're still, now let's zoom in to the smaller time frames. We've still maintained the integrity of that pink box, meaning that this is still in retest. Basically, this is a mini consolidation, right? A consolidation, again, is something that changes the trend from up to down or down to up, okay? So remember, breakdown, retest, consolidation, breakdown. This is alt season right here. This is what we're looking for. So right now, our analysis of alt season really being imminent is mostly based on not just the altcoin charts, but also this indicator showing us that right here, you are getting some sort of consolidation that is holding at a crucial resistance and likely to break down. That's number 1, okay? So I really like that, and it's very encouraging. And last but not least, we can look specifically at the total 3, which is the altcoin chart that I like to look at. Let's go on the 4-hourly time frame. And you can see, I've been talking about this move up and out of this falling bull flag, okay? And how you come up and out of a channel you can look at Wyckoff accumulation schematics. You perform what we call an SOS, or a sign of strength, which essentially is a zigzag pattern, typically in some sort of channel or conical structure. And you can see here the conical structure. And last episode, I was saying how it looks as if we're holding the midline, and we may launch off the midline, but we lost the midline. Still, we've maintained the integrity of the sign of strength, right? This rising, broadening channel, right? So here you can see we've gone up and down, up and down, and right now we're holding support of this sign of strength, which means there's a high likelihood that our next move does move up and out of this rising, broadening channel. Very good sign, very encouraging for altcoins, despite the short time frame retracement given Bitcoin's move down. You will see altcoins likely show a massive strength against Bitcoin. And you can see here on our daily time frame, the stochastic RSI is bottomed out in oversold territory. On our weekly time frame, it's topped out, but that's fine. You can stay topped out on the weekly for quite some time there. On the 4-hourly, completely bottomed out. Okay, so I'm liking what this looks like. So that's pretty much it. I'm, long story short, expecting Bitcoin to continue to matriculate downwards in this trend, right? All the way down to our target of about 100K, right? And then make a subtle move, a modest move, up to the phi ratio of our previous trend, which is about, let's see. Let me move this one sec. Which is about 106 thereabouts. Okay, let's actually measure it together, because I measured this some time ago. I don't want to just say stuff. Might as well just not be lazy and measure it. So this is the trend that we're in right here. I'm starting from here. I'm counting from here. This is the top. So if this is the trend, sorry, no, I misspoke. Did I? Sorry, one second. Let me get my bearings. Let me move this for a second. I'm doing this on the fly, my friends. I had it in my eye. I look at it all the time, and then it made... Okay, I think it's making sense to me once again. That is my first one. This is my second one. You come down. Yeah, I think we're taking all of this. We're taking all of this right here. All of this from the top here. Yeah. I had the line drawn properly. So, if we come down to 100... I'm thinking, I mean, we can make a flat correction of it, but I'm thinking it's more likely that we top out around 106, 107-ish, okay? Somewhere in this area right here. And that's confluent with the bottom of this, head and shoulders pattern. It's very nice. It's a breakdown, retest, boom. Okay, so I like that. I like around 106, basically in this region, between 106.6 and 107.8. This is where I'm expecting Bitcoin to bounce. And in that bounce, while Bitcoin may move a total of, 6 to 7%, altcoins may give you 40 to 80% or even more. Okay. So this is what I'm seeing. That's why I'm seeing it, guys. Hope this was helpful. If this was useful, like, share, and subscribe. If you got value, consider tipping me by Venmo, Litecoin, Cash App, all at the pinned comment below. And if you need one-on-one consultation services, you can sign up for my crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation service, also at the pinned comment below, where I go one-on-one with you up to 2 hours every month, help you balance a portfolio of up to 5 altcoins, and identify good buying and selling points on a monthly basis. So that's all at the pinned comment below. Guys, take care. Let's do this and talk to you about
the world spins without me. Arrived at the fork in the road, could turn back, repeat the same story, or march forward and embrace change and reflect upon his glory. I'm a selfish man, therein lies the whole problem. Torn between my actions and the will of my heart. I had to take it all apart to see where I stood as a man, to depart from this world and leave it in his hands. Come on.
And it looks like I'm heading for the gold, y'all. Touring on a pothole road, y'all. I get it even if I didn't fit in, winning right up to the end, and like I didn't even know, y'all. I have Pop's genetics, working hard never to get it, like shit or better than letting life get the best of my efforts. Instead I dedicated to bettering my steps, measuring investments, watch me do it to the death, y'all. Run it fresh 400.